Hello everybody from Plant Review. Today I will talk about one of the most unusual flowered plants I have in the garden, and is the Grevillea or Grevillea Canberra Gem. It's a plant that is of a member hybrid of two species of the genus Grevillea. Grevillea is a genus of family, sorry, a genus of plants in the family Proteaceae, a family that is distributed mostly in South Africa, Australia, and South America, and the Grevilleas in particular come from mainly from Australia, some also from New Guinea and some areas in Indonesia. The Grevilleas are plants that are mainly bird pollinated. As with most plants that are mainly bird pollinated, they are most of them are not fragrant. Actually, I am not aware of any Grevillea that is fragrant. But the colors are usually very bright, in particular yellow, orange and red are the most common in the Grevilleas. Even if most Grevilleas come from subtropical and tropical areas, some members of the genus have adapted to a cooler environment. In particular, the Canberra Gem is a hybrid between two species, Grevillea juniperina and Grevillea rosemarinifolia, and both species have these kind of needle-like shaped leaves, and this is very important because as in conifers, they're very similar leaves indeed. This kind of leaves is able to protect this shape is able to protect the leaves from the very harsh environments where these species, parents of this hybrid come from. As you can see, it's a bush with a very open habit. That's a bush indeed that I have in an area together with another quite open tree, the pineapple broom, and a hydrangea at the back. So I decided to intermingle it with lilies because this kind of open habit support the tall stem of the lilies. And also I like the combination because the Grevillea Canberra Gem flowers mainly from February up to September, so from late winter to early autumn, and it's a very nice combination with these bright small red flowers when the lilies are around with their big and showy flowers. They are very, very fragrant, especially with the oriental lilies that are usually unfortunately don't have this kind of beautiful bright red color. As in Grevilleas are plants that are mostly bird pollinated, even if bees and bumblebees also visit them. As usual with most plants that are bird pollinated, the flowers are very bright. As you can see, the Canberra Gem is mostly pinkish red, very bright. However, other common colors in Grevilleas are orange and yellow. The Grevillea flowers are very peculiar in shape. They are claw-like, and as you can see, is actually it's one of the most unusual flowers you can have in the garden. I'm sure you won't find any other plant in the garden that has this kind of flower. Unfortunately, the Grevillea Canberra Gem has flowers that are quite small. The clusters of flowers, the flowers are in a cluster of about 3, 4, maximum 5 centimeters wide. However, the color is so bright and they are born in such a number that this is a plant that whose flowers will be noticed straight away when you go in the garden. It's a pity that unfortunately is not fragrant. The final size of the plant is about 2 meters tall by 2 meters wide, but again is a kind of open habit of growing, so you can intermingle it with other plants. And I decided the lilies because they can reach oriental and giant lilies 1.5 or 2 meters tall, and they have a great fragrance to compensate unfortunately the lack of fragrance of the Grevillea Canberra Gem. This is one of the few Grevilleas that is hardy. In UK actually has been described hardy up to minus 15 degrees. Here in Kent we never had any temperature lower than minus 7 during the famous snowstorm, the beast from the east, that we had a couple of years ago. Coming from Russia. However, with 1 week at between minus 2 and minus 7 degrees, this Grevillea was perfectly fine, and indeed the spring after started blooming without any problems at all. Therefore, that's a plant that I can definitely recommend as absolutely fully hardy in UK. One very important information is about obviously the exposure. It likes a southern exposure. They really love this plant really likes full sun and very well drained soil, like most Australian plants indeed. The parents of this plant, the Grevillea Canberra Gem, are probably Grevillea rosmarinifolia and Grevillea juniperina. There's still some debate of, according to some sources, it's not some people are not very sure which are the parents, but according to most of the websites I found, it seemed that actually these are the two parents of the species, and they come from the southern Australia. They are mainly distributed from South Queensland and New South Wales to Victoria, so it's a quite cool environment, and they also are distributed also in mountain environment, and that's the reason again because this Grevillea is so cold adapted. The Canberra Gem, this variety, was awarded by the RHS Award of Garden Merit, and I completely agree, it's a very nice shrub you can have in the garden. It's the flowers, the leaves are very bright green, and also they are evergreen, so it's really a plant that you can enjoy all year round in the garden, and the blooming season is so extended, and that it's really make a great addition to your garden. On the top of that, I mean, look at the flowers with their hook-like claw-shaped appearance and their bright red color, pinkish red, is really something that you don't find usually in the garden. So it's really a plant that is one of the nicest addition you can have in your garden. The one thing about these plants, due to the fact that it's not fragrant, birds are the main pollinators of this flower, and it produces copious amounts of nectar. Aboriginals can in Australia collect nectar from Grevillea as well, sometimes actually with bare hands. The problem being that it's not recommended to do this in your garden, because I've read that some Grevillea nectar actually can contains toxic cyanide in some varieties that have been selected for the garden. So unfortunately, even if I would love to try the nectar from my plants, I really would not have a go with the Grevillea, with the Grevillea Canberra Gem, because I didn't find any information about the suitability of the nectar for human drinking. Therefore, I think I will just stick to enjoy this beautiful plant with the most unusual and beautifully pinkish red flowers. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.